Hi, everyone. We have a special show right now. We've got a couple guests on screen, a couple guests off screen. We've got Thaddeus here with us. How you doing, Thaddeus?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
We've got our friendly ex-Muslim Abdullah. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Very
And
misogynistic of you having only men on the screen.
well, there are reasons, man. There are reasons. You know the reasons. Anyway, so off screen, we have Mrs. Friendly ex-Muslim Hoda. How you doing?
Good,
Good, good.
good, good.
And we have a Muslim sister who is involved in a controversy right now. Mohammed Hijab's ex-wife, one of his ex-wives. We have Aisha with us. How are you? How you doing, Aisha?
Hi there, everyone. I'm good, thank you.
And it's good to hear. Good to hear from you. The most obvious question on everyone's mind is going to be, why are you talking to these guys? So while this entire thing was unfolding, one of the things you were attacked for is that sometime last year you tried to contact me and Abdullah about a situation. I didn't even see it back then, and if I had seen it, I probably wouldn't have responded to it. I would have just been like, I'm not interested in behind the scene in what's going on with the Dawah guys behind the scenes and so on. But that has been used to attack you. And so we've seen that recently with Behind the Veils exposing the entire situation between you and Mohammed Hijab, and how Mohammed Hijab's been trying to cover things up and lie and blackmail and fabricate evidence and so on. And so we basically reached out to you because there's kind of a power and influence imbalance in all of this, in that it's very easy for a Dawah guy with 1 million+ followers and another Dawah guy with 1 million+ followers. Very easy for them to sort of drown out anyone who would try to expose what they've done and so on. And so we kind of offered you the opportunity. Hey, if there's anything we can do to help with that, we'd be happy to. And you didn't want to join us for anything, but you are now. So what's changed?
Well, first off, I would like to say that I am happy that we are all able to have a very productive, respectful conversation despite our differences, despite us subscribing to different belief systems, whether it's sacred or secular. In the beginning, I think there are a few stages to answer your question. Honestly, the first stage where I was reaching out to you guys, I didn't find any kind of support from the Muslim community. I believe strongly that what hijab has done was ethically wrong, Islamically and otherwise. And I wanted to create a change. I wanted to stop his misguidance, his wrong influence. And unfortunately, I couldn't find any kind of support or platform to speak. I tried to sort things out privately, speaking to scholars and otherwise, but that didn't work. Um, then you guys, I spoke to Salman. He did great job.
He did.
I realized yeah, he did a very great job. He took a very long time to look into things. Although I was very skeptical, a lot of scholars dismissed my appeal previously. But yeah, I think the only difference that happened here is there was absolutely no actions taken. After Salman has done great job, there was no response, there were no actions taken, there was no accountability, and there was no change. I was expecting that at least some scholars will come out and they will
Mm.
denounce his teachings, because he's claiming that what he's teaching is a valid opinion. And there are a lot of people who believed him, whereas it's actually a sexual exploitation of vulnerable women through deception. Because I strongly believe that this voice has to be heard louder, I evaluated the situation from an Islamic perspective. And to be really honest with you, the only reason for which I wouldn't collaborate or try to work out together is not because you are not a Muslim, but obviously we all can appreciate that you guys, you attack Islam, you've got your own perspective on how you attack it and criticize it. I personally prefer to have productive criticism between religions, and we focus more on the roots of our scriptures and proving that our scriptures are divine or not, rather than focusing too much on the sorry.
You're good.
You guys left me talk too much, and my English is making me a little anxious. You see.
We think your English is great.
Okay.
Better than Ali Dawah's. Better than Ali Dawah's.
Yeah. So I was saying that you guys are criticizing Islam in a certain way, and I do oppose that. Even if I was atheist all my life, I personally wouldn't prefer to do this. Probably you have your own perspective, your own reasons. I personally believe that instead of religious doctrines clashing with each other over ethical superiority, it's more productive to take a path towards critically examining the authority of the scriptures, whether it's divine or not, whether it's perfectly preserved or not. This is for religious, beliefs. I do oppose any type of blasphemy or mockery of any kind of religion. In fact, any worldview. I know that David mentioned in one of your videos that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself mocked in a certain way pagan beliefs by destroying their idols. We as Muslims have our own interpretation of that historical event, but obviously we're not going to go into that in this conversation here. But yeah, so I just wanted to say that I am happy that we are capable of having a productive conversation, respectful, mutual respect. And it's a very good environment to create for our offspring and, a role model, basically.
So just to clarify, you're saying that last year when you tried contacting me and Abdullah, it was because you'd tried contacting a bunch of Muslim leaders and scholars, and for whatever reason they weren't willing to help, either because they agreed with hijab or because they're scared of hijab. They don't want to be attacked by hijab because we know how he responds when people criticize him, or they just don't want to get involved. But you tried finding people to help. You couldn't find anyone, and then you're basically looking for people. Okay, who is willing to say something about hijab? Oh, that would be like Abdullah or David or someone like that. So I should talk to them, because you've got this issue that women in the ummah are being sexually used and exploited, and you realize you have to let people know somehow. You have to let people know somehow, and so you're basically saying, hey, even if I have to talk to these guys, people need to be aware of this. And if these guys are going to help me get the information out there, then I would even contact them. Then you fortunately got in touch with Behind the Veils guys, and they did an awesome job. In fact, I can't think of anyone on the planet who would do a better job than they did. I didn't like they blew my mind with how perfect everything they did was. So hats off to them. But then you're pointing out that even after Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah have been completely exposed, that you would basically think, oh, all their lies have been exposed. Now the ummah and now our Muslim leaders and so on are going to take note and expose these guys and condemn what they've done and give a warning to Muslim women about how people like this are going to treat them. But you're looking and it's just like, they're just being quiet about it still. And so it's like they're still, even after these guys have been exposed everyone's still just being quiet about it, and no one's doing anything, and no one's helping the women. And so now you're even in a position where, okay, you're kind of back to, I'll tell anyone who's willing to have a conversation about this what's going on in order to inform women about what's happening. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to raise this flag once again. I wanted to make this voice heard, make this voice higher. There was absolutely no actions from serious action from any part of any sheikh or scholar to correct the teachings hijab was spreading. And except for one singular Muslim channel that dissected the teachings and his talks in podcasts, and he started providing Islamic resources to refute those teachings. So we are not only here talking about like Muslims and how they are being treated, Muslim women, how they are being treated, and so on. This is a scandal at a grand scheme. We all have to gather together to fight any kind of abuse of authority, abuse of power, any kind of abuse. And it's just like really good, and it's very productive. And as I said before, it's a role model for our offspring to come to terms, to understand what is right and what is wrong in terms of things that we have in common grounds. So I believe it's extremely essential for us to work harder on this. And if I've got absolutely any kind of opportunity to take this fight and do the right thing, I would.
And it's really interesting what you kind of mentioned, that this can be like a general problem of, I would say, like manipulators. And matter of fact, Jordan Peterson has talked about this, but that you have people who are manipulators, you have narcissists, you have psychopaths, and so on. But Peterson points out that those kinds of individuals, they work themselves, they work their ways into communities where they're safe because they can use those communities to shield them from criticism, because it'll be like a community that is, they're focused on something they love, and you can use their love for some institution or something like that to get them to keep quiet about things. So like this happened in the Catholic Church famously a couple decades ago, where there were these sexual abuse scandals, but people didn't want to speak out because they didn't want the church to get a bad reputation. So they would just kind of try to deal with things quietly behind the scenes or something like that. And then whatever priest or whatever was doing this, they would just send him off somewhere else, but then he'd keep doing it. And so people finally realized, no, we can't, even though we love our church, we can't keep quiet about this because we're enabling abusers. We're helping abusers get away with it. We can't do that. So even though it's going to hurt, and even though it's going to hurt the reputation of something we care about and we love,
Yes.
we have to do it anyway, or this continues. And we're sending a bad message to abusers that you can get away with it here. This is the place where, if you really love something, you should not want it to become the place where abusers can get away with abusing women or children or anything else. You don't want it to become that. And so I would say, like, the Dawah scene right now, from the perspective of like a manipulator or an abuser, is like, ooh, this is great. I can go there, I can get a big following, and I can do whatever I want, and no one will ever call me out or expose me because they're too worried about hurting Islam. And so all the Dawah fans will jump on a person who tries to blow a whistle and expose something. And so this is a great place to get away with abusing women. That should not be the reputation that you want. It should be, this is the place where abusers will not make it. But it's kind
Absolutely.
of, yeah. So
Yeah.
anyways, yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, no,
I agree.
absolutely. Yeah. I think we all agree on this. Yeah. It's good for us to take this fight and fight on common grounds against what is wrong, basically. Yeah, and you're right. They are exploiting their positions, and unfortunately, we would like to bring out change. So, yeah.
Okay, Thaddeus,
I agree.
Oh, go ahead, Thaddeus. Go ahead, Thaddeus. I was gonna ask everyone to sort of share their initial thoughts, but Thaddeus is the one who's gonna keep me online and keep me from talking too long, and he's gonna make sure we get through
Yeah,
everything.
I was gonna say that I agree with the principle that if I'm criticizing Islam or criticizing anyone's beliefs, that it should be from an intellectual standpoint, and that is my natural approach to things. But unfortunately, once I got interested in Islam, I quickly discovered that the let's say the state of dialogue was such that you get a lot more people listening if you approach things in a certain way, a certain aggressive way. You get a lot more people who are willing to listen. And since I want Muslims to listen to what I have to say, I adopted that approach. But I agree that an intellectual approach would be preferable, and certainly no mocking here today from me. We will be looking at why here in a second, we'll be looking at why people like hijab have drawn me into engaging at their level. Let's put it that way.
Hey, yeah, Thaddeus, you do make an interesting point in that it's kind of like it's the same thing. It's the same thing with me. Like when I started out, and you could go back to 2005, 2006, and so on. I would present any information I thought was relevant, but I did it respectfully. So I would talk about Muhammad and his relationship with Aisha and so on in response to Muslim arguments, because Muslims back then were arguing, preservation of the Quran and scientific miracles and so on. But one of their main arguments back then was Muhammad's character is so perfect that he has to be from God. And so I didn't know how to respond to the argument without actually just going through and saying, okay, do you believe this is morally perfect? Do you believe that's morally perfect? But I would be respectful. And I was telling other people back then, I had an article on Answering Islam saying, don't call Muhammad a pedophile. It's not adding anything to the argument. You're not making some great point by that. If you want to present the information and ask how they want to respond to that, then do that. But even then, back then, being as respectful as possible, but also presenting information that a lot of people didn't want to hear, didn't want out there, it was the response I would get from people online, the messages I would get was, we're going to kill you. We're going to do this to your wife. We're going to do this to your mom. We're going to do this to your kids and things. And that made me more aggressive. Their goal is to make me quiet, but the real reality was it made me be less nice to you. It made me be more aggressive towards you. But it's actually when we get to Mohammed Hijab where another shift happens, where when Hijab came along and I saw people like rallying around him, it was before then I thought, oh yeah, you have these aggressive types and these guys who are threatening to kill me and stuff like that. Let me respond to them. I'm going to respond to them, and I'm going to be mean and brutal when I'm responding to them. But I still thought like other Muslims are nice and stuff like that, and they don't agree with this. And it was with Mohammed Hijab where I realized this is actually very widespread to
Yeah, no, absolutely.
cheer for the guys who are insulting and threatening and so on. And that's when it kind of changed, where I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to try to be nice anymore unless I'm talking to a specific person who's being respectful. Like, well, I will be totally respectful with you all day, every day. And when I'm responding to Muslims who are nice and respectful, then that is how I prefer to be. But it's just, yeah, there's a lot of people with a lot of negativity, and so yeah, the point is that
I agree. I agree with you. I personally do oppose any kind of blasphemy, whether it's coming from a Muslim or otherwise. And it was any kind of faith, whether it's Judaism, Hinduism, Christianity, Islam. I do hold the same standard in regards to this approach. And you are right. There are so many du'ats they are very mocking. They are mocking. They are disrespectful. They are mocking other beliefs. And I oppose that. I don't subscribe to that, and I oppose that. I think that's a very bad approach. I think people have to be respected, like especially like for example with brother Abdullah and sister Huda. She any person who like he's got their questions, they've got their situation, like in regards to Islam, like they shouldn't be attacked in a way where like you were always an imposter, or like you've never been a Muslim before. And I have seen this kind of pattern. In fact, this pattern is used even against whistleblowers, like for example Imam Nick.
Mhm.
Anyone who comes out with some kind of criticism or like would like to bring out a change that is positive, unfortunately, even these kind of people, they get attacked. And we are here, I am here today because I would like to create this change. I don't subscribe to these things. I do not believe that these things are part of Islam. I am here to highlight Islamic teachings that I believe in. And I think in this particular case, we all agree about this ethics. We all are opposing these kind of practices.
I think it's interesting. Everyone here. So the three on screen and the two off screen. What we all have in common is that we're all consistent on this issue. In other words, it's okay if you're setting the bar here, then don't complain when I set the bar here. Like me, I'm okay. Wherever you want to set the bar as far as what we're doing, then I will react accordingly. You're consistent, and you're saying, hey. We shouldn't be mocking, and you shouldn't be mocking, and so we shouldn't be mocking and insulting. So you're consistent. Um, the difference with like Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah and these guys, they actually want a world where they get to heap insults and threats and abuse on other people, but everyone else just is super respectful and nice in response. And when that doesn't happen, they lose their minds, and they don't get it. It's like, hey, if you want people to be respectful towards you and your beliefs in a conversation, then you should be as respectful as possible. And so I'll say, like when I blast away at Muhammad or the Quran or something like that, I get that I'm forfeiting the right to say be nice to me in response. It never crosses my mind to say, hey, you're being mean to me in response. Like, okay, I understand I'm being mean. I know why I'm being mean. And so I'm going to be consistent. It's fair is fair. If I'm being mean, then you can be mean in responding to me, and so on. But anyway, yeah, that's what bothers me most about. Well, that's not what bothers me most, but it bothers me a lot that these guys they do want a world where they get to treat people one way and everyone else has to treat them with respect. And it's kind of a parallel to you, right? They get to treat you horribly, Aisha. They get to treat you horribly. And you're supposed to respond with nothing but admiration and respect for all of them and to keep all this quiet. And it's like, guys, you don't get this world that you want. If your behavior is terrible, it's going to come back on you. It's going to come back on you.
Yeah, no,
Um,
absolutely. I
okay.
think we all have got our own ethical paradigm, and I do greatly appreciate today that you have set conditions to host this meeting, like avoiding mockery of Islam or all sorts, and based on my request, and this was my condition in making this meeting because obviously I am still Muslim. And just to highlight that I had questions that were created from the trauma that I have gone through. However, I'm still navigating my faith. I'm still looking into things contrary to how I have been attacked and claimed to be an imposter and an enemy of Islam, someone who's been plotting, and attacking Islam in hiding. And by the way, an enemy of Islam is description. It's not an insult, just for clarity. It's a description that describes someone who disagrees with Islam and they are attacking Islam, criticizing Islam in a way.
Mhm,
And it was not nice because obviously I am a Muslim and I'm navigating my faith. So yeah, so
mhm,
I think it's good that we are able to go through this conversation today.
mhm. Yeah, and yeah, and we'll go ahead and start going through some video clips and covering the main issues. Before we do, haven't heard really from Abdullah and Huda, so why don't you guys give your sort of initial thoughts on anything we've been talking about as far as like as far as the respect and versus mockery
Sure.
issue, and on basically in general on the topic we're about to address with Mohammed Hijab. So whoever wants to go first.
Yeah, ladies first. Huda.
Oh, you're so sweet. Okay, so I do have some thoughts. So, as somebody who was once a believer, first I want to say that it is never my goal to try and convince somebody to leave their faith. That's something very personal, and Sister Aisha knows this about me. Um, I have no desire to make that happen. What I care about is the fact that she's my sister in humanity, And like David said, these guys want to hurl abuse and insults at you, and they just want you to go away. So that's why I've been so invested in this story from the beginning, because I knew that she was telling the truth, and I know what they want to do. They want her to shut up and go away. And I don't want her to shut up and go away if she doesn't want to, right? And she doesn't. She wants to talk about this. She wants to tell her truth, right? So that's why I'm here. I'm here as her sister in humanity, to be here for her and help her speak her truth.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Well said.
Of
Just
course.
one thing. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
Okay, I was just gonna add. Yeah, I won't really focus on the whole like mocking and criticizing Islam and stuff, because there's a time and place for that. But I do want to say one thing. I think David, you said it really well, and I'm just gonna like kind of add to that, which is that we have atheists, Christians, we have a Muslim here, and we have my wife who's non-religious. All of us, we're all here together for one woman who is Sister Aisha, and we want to help her. And the reason for that, in my case, is because I feel like there was harm done to you, right? And very clear harm. And what I've seen is that, Aisha, you respected Mohammed Hijab, and you just wanted a relationship with him, and it didn't work out. He did what he did, and what you did is you did the right thing. You told the truth, but he lied. Then he doubled down. Then he tripled down. Then he quadrupled down, and he's gone, and to more and more of an extent of lying and like covering up his tracks and trying to trick people and blackmailing. And there's all of this, like he's using all of his power. Is 1 million. I mean, when you have a platform, I have 100,000 subscribers with my wife. I take that seriously. There's some responsibility here that I don't want to harm anybody. But he doesn't care. He's like literally using all of his power that he has as clout, and he's bulldozing his way through, trying to destroy you and trying to basically remove any possibility that people will believe you. Everything from conspiracy theories about who's trying to get him, Elon Musk, to we'll go through all the details. But just wanted to point out that again, the humanity kind of angle here, that obviously David and Thaddeus have the Christian angle of why they're doing this. I'm not a believer in anything, but I do think that this is wrong what happened. So I'm going to take the time to go through this. Obviously, we have, I believe there's an Islamic angle, but we won't touch that today. We won't talk about the Islamic sort of perspective, but we will talk about the human perspective. And yeah, so that's my take. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're basically, well, I think we're all agreeing that there are things that we can all agree on. Christian, and it is interesting. We have a Muslim, 2 Christians, an atheist, and an agnostic, all in complete agreement. It's kind of cool. Hijab, Mohammed Hijab. You have united the world in agreeing that you're behaving terribly and you need to be exposed, and that this needs to be stopped. On the issue of kind of mockery and so on, to set up kind of what's going on, to kind of, before we start getting into some video clips, just talk about the issue with Mohammed Hijab. It's stuff like this. For anyone who's new here and doesn't know what we're talking about when we're talking about the behavior, here's Mohammed Hijab saying, I believe certain anti-Muslim women would wish they lived in the medieval period, a period where if war was won by the opposing side, it was conventional that people could be taken as booty. Some historical accounts actually say some women would dress up for the captor. So this is Mohammed Hijab suggesting that women who criticize Islam actually are secretly longing to be conquered so they can be taken as war booty, and that they'll even be dressing up for their Muslim captors like Mohammed Hijab. So that's the sort of message that he posts on Twitter back in the day. These are the messages that he was sending to me and AP. So this is Hijab sending messages to AP. Says, you two can play with each other. Get on your knees for D Wood. That's me. Gimp, D Wood can give you a golden shower. Go ahead and give D Wood what he wants. Let D Wood give you a golden shower. Gimp, get on your knees for your master. Boy, you can suck that golden showed from your master. I know you need a slave master. Golden shower. Gimp, get on your knees for your master. Let him slap you in the face. Fiend, So we get those kind of messages from these guys. And keep in mind, the entire time he's demanding that we show him nothing but respect in return. We have to be extremely respectful towards him and his religion and his beliefs and so on. This is how he was responding to people like AP back in the day. This is how he was talking to atheists back then. I don't know if he still talks like this. I don't follow a lot of his messages unless it's causing an uproar. But if I were an anxiety-ridden, hate-filled, nihilist atheist like apostate prophet, I would consider ending myself as a serious option. That is because the world offers humans more pain than pleasure. The pain of being a coward, the pain of having no purpose. Just find a tall building, and he's actually telling him to end himself. Here we have Mohammed Hijab. When these anti-Muslim attention whore Islamophobes need to get on their knees in intellectual submission before they are whipped by freedom of speech by the Twitter Muslims, and they reluctantly open their mouth in protestation to find they have been defiled.
Please. This is so disturbing. This is extremely disturbing. These texts are extremely disturbing.
Yeah, we agree. And this is, a matter of fact, I'm going to play just as by way of introduction to Mohammed Hijab and why people respond to him in a certain way and the level of hypocrisy. I'm going to show a quick video clip about this because I didn't catch what he was actually saying when I read this years ago. It wasn't until AP. When I was live, me, AP, and Abdullah were live years ago, and AP pointed out what he was actually saying and all this, and that was actually a turning point in how I was reacting to the online Dawah guys. So he was responding specifically to AP's wife in this. And then he encouraged his followers to do the same. I call upon all the Muslim Twitter soldiers to work within the full scope of the law to create maximum damage to the cause of apostate prophet and his public figure wife. They are demoralizing on the ropes. Do not let the weak-minded Muslims deter you. Finish them. This was him saying, hey guys, this is how I'm responding to him. Now everyone do the same. And how was it? He was going after, this is back when he decided to go after everyone's wives. He went after everyone's wives. So instead of responding to AP or something like that, he wanted to go after his wife. But this isn't just how he was responding to non-Muslims. We would have things like this when he's in a discussion with his fellow Muslims. Okay, can I suck your wife's tit to make her mahram? And the response, what kind of mannerisms are they? Shame on you, Muhammad. And why is it wrong if he believes it's halal? And so he's mocking, just terrible, terrible, terrible behavior. But yeah, I did want to just play one quick video clip of that because a lot of people, I'm saying this because a lot of the Dawah fans, Mohammed Hijab's fans, Ali Dawah fans, they don't understand this simple point that when you see us reacting in certain ways, it's a reaction. It's a reaction to what someone else has done. But when like Mohammed Hijab or Ali Dawah say, look at what these guys have done. They don't say, oh, and it's a reaction to what we just did. They don't say that. They don't say, here's these guys reacting to this horrible thing we did. They just say, look at what these guys have done. And so...
Yeah, I think there is another thing at play here because most of the time, obviously not everybody is on their screen 24/7. They don't follow absolutely any particular person 24/7, whatever text, whatever comment, whatever post, whatever, And I believe that from the Muslim community, what we get on our feeds is more of like the academic work. We get more of that. That's what shows up on our feeds in regards to whomever we listen their lectures or whomever we listen in specific topics. So I believe the same thing happens from the Christian community as well. When they follow a certain figure, there is specific number or area of that they are interested in, that they follow them for. So I believe this is where that there is the somehow hidden part of this person, and we don't really pay much attention to that. That's why it doesn't show up on our feeds.
Mm-hmm.
But like things to be said, this is making me feel like I would like to throw up. Like this is extremely disturbing. This is extremely disgusting. I can't believe like this guy goes in ways that are too much. And I am here now to create a change, and I do hope that there is going to be change in regards to this.
Mhm. And I have to the reason I'm bringing this up, is because again, in my mind, it's a parallel between the situation with you, right? It's from hijab's perspective, I get to do whatever I want, and everyone else has to keep their mouth shut and do nothing but respect me in return. That's how he is with non-Muslims, right? It's, hey, I get to heap insults and abuse on you. I get to mock you in every possible way. I get to threaten you. I get to do whatever I want. And you have to respond. You have to respond by treating me like a king. But then in apparently, we don't know a lot about his relationships with women apart from, but it sounds like the same thing. I get to treat you however I want, and your job is to just treat me like a king in response. And when it doesn't work, he just loses his mind. When people say, no, you don't get to treat people horribly like garbage and just and have them treat you like a king in response, he loses his mind, which that's a symptom of narcissistic personality disorder. I seriously believe that he's a narcissist. But I did want to play this sort of final clip on this. We've got a bunch of clips to go through, but last little clip on this issue. This is where things change, because to this day they complain about people ripping the Quran and things like that, and they don't know where all of that started. That started in response to him going after people's wives. Like it was, hey, you're not going after people's wives. You are crossing a line. We will do whatever it takes to stop you from going after people's wives. So here's a little clip of that. I'm not going to show anything with the Quran or something. Just want to show this was kind of when it AP explained what we kind of just looked at, and I hadn't seen it, but here we go.
Now we're getting to the wives. When these anti-Muslim attention whore Islamophobes, when these anti-Muslim attention whore Islamophobes need to get on their knees in intellectual submission before they are whipped,
He loves this BDSM theme, eh?
before they are whipped
Loves it.
and lashed and chained up against the wall. By freedom of speech.
Keep in mind, I think right here, I thought he was talking to us, so I thought it was funny. I actually thought it was funny. That's why I'm joking. I thought that he's talking to us, and I wasn't even paying attention. He's actually specifically responding to AP's wife, and that changes the meaning of forcing them to their knees and whipping them and making them open their mouths and defiling them. It changes the meaning when this is about a woman.
By the Twitter Muslims, and they reluctantly open their mouth in protestation to find they have been defiled by the truth. Hey, listen, he said...
That's me laughing. AP's not laughing because he understands what this is about, and I didn't at this point.
All of this imagery here, whipped by freedom of speech by the Twitter Muslims. So you guys are being lashed and whipped by the Twitter Muslim, and you reluctantly open your mouth in protestation to find that you have been defiled.
No, look, it is actually worse, and it's hard for me to speak this out. To be quite honest, but he's referring to my wife. He has a screenshot of my wife.
Oh no!
What he's doing here, the imagery that he's intending to put out here, is that my wife. Look, he's covering, he's veiling it all in such a way that it is relevant to Islamophobia and the war between the critics of Islam and Muslims. But what he's implying here is that when these anti-Muslim attention whore Islamophobes, meaning my wife is the attention whore, need to get on their knees in intellectual submission. He adds intellectual to make more of an implication of it, to make it more veiled, before they are whipped by freedom of speech by the Twitter Muslims. So he's implying here that the free speech by all those tough Muslim men, while my wife is getting on her knees in intellectual submission, and they reluctantly open their mouth in protestation to find that they have been defiled by truth. I don't want to speak this out, but I guess everyone gets the imagery of what he is trying to make here, the imagery that he's trying to present here. And this guy is speaking about my wife. He's speaking of himself and his entire Muslim community on Twitter. What this guy is doing here, dear Muslims, dear very morally sublime Muslims, is that he is implying that you tough Muslim men are here. My wife, I will speak of her just as a woman. A woman is here going on her knees, and all the proud Muslim men are going and sexually violating her all together. and my wife is letting that happen to herself. This is what is being implied here. This is the imagery here. This is your morally sublime religion. This is what you stand for, Muslims. All of you Muslim apologists. All of you Muslim apologists out there who are normally so loud about people who seek their freedoms, who are so loud about what schools teach, who are so loud about when hijabis take off their hijabs, when women seek their freedom, when people say the mildest things about Islam, when Trump issues a travel ban, which should be issued for all of you, for all of your pathetic countries. When you are outraged about these things, and you are all silent here about this, all those people who work with Mohammed Hijab, who have worked with him, who are still with him, who are still friends with him, all you people who are quiet right now, you hypocrites, this is what you stand for. This guy is talking about rape. This guy is talking about the imagery of sexual submission of my wife to this big Twitter mob. This is what this guy is talking about. This is what you Muslims, all of you Muslims who have engaged with these people, who have been part of this whole discourse, of these whole conversations, and who have said nothing about this. This is what all of you perverted bastards stand for. This represents all of you wicked perverts.
Anyway, the point there was, notice how instantly enraged he became once the conversation is, hey, now we're going to do this and that to your wife. And Hijab knew that. And what's amazing, see, that's a shift happened in AP there too. A shift happened in me right there. A shift happened in AP. Then it's, hey, if you guys think this is appropriate and that you're going to prop this guy up as your hero, do not ask us to be nice anymore. We're done. We're done being nice. And it was interesting.
I am extremely disgusted, like beyond imagination. I can't even believe that this guy goes to this level in his conversations. Like, I do think that you're right. These kind of actions have to be condemned by scholars and representatives of Islam, according to how we believe Islam has to be practiced. And their silence is complicity.
Yeah, and Abdullah was there, and I could tell he was kind of uncomfortable in what followed, because me and AP started going off, and AP was cracking up at me going off, and Abdullah was kind of, this is bad. This is bad. He could kind of see. Yeah, you remember that? You remember that, Abdullah?
I very much remember that. I'm gonna say that it didn't. Again, I don't want to get too much into the whole criticism thing. I think I've shifted my views a lot since then. But it doesn't make a difference whether you rip up the Quran or don't rip up the Quran. You still end up in the same boat. Yeah. So, but anyways, like, again, we're going to focus on Sister Aisha here. So I won't get into that. But yeah, I do remember that very clearly. Yeah, that happened.
Yeah. And so this is kind of leading into the issue that, again, one, you've got people like Mohammed Hijab. We get to do whatever we want. Everyone else has to do nothing but respect us in return. But you're talking about people's wives with threats of like rape and torture. So what? Respect me, respect my book in return. And somehow their minds work like that. But they end up with this complete system of hypocrisy. It's like a complete system of hypocrisy. There's one set of rules for the Dawah guys and one set of rules for everyone else. And this is true in their relations between Muslims and non-Muslims, but also in their relations with their wives and their followers and stuff. They just get to treat their wives and followers and so on like garbage, however they want. And everyone is supposed to respect them in return. So Thaddeus, should we check out some video clips here on the issue of hypocrisy? We have a bunch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, I just wanted to say, too, in response to that video, as somebody who was on the other side at one point, I was a Muslim convert for almost 10 years. So when I started to question Islam, I started to watch your content, David, my now husband, AP, all of you guys, everybody. And, when I used to see this stuff on Twitter and you guys respond to Mohammed Hijab, and I would look at his followers and, I would look to see, like, is Omar Suleiman going to distance himself from him? Or any of these other famous imams going to like notice this and start, creating distance because this guy's obviously problematic? No, it never happened. And they're aware of this stuff too, I'm sure. So I'm thinking, what kind of community is this? How dysfunctional, as you always say, for, for somebody like this to still have a following after all he's said and done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is disturbing, and that's why, hats off again to Salman and so on, and to Aisha for being willing to face what they know is coming at them when they cross these guys. But also even back then, Sajid Lippam. Sajid is no fan of me. Sajid does not like me, but and I obviously disagree with him, but I can respect him in that he has spoken up about Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah and so on. Same thing with Knowledge North. Knowledge North was calling him out back then, but yeah, it is we can respect the few that stand up, but my goodness, it should be way more. It should be way more. Yeah, so we've got a number of clips that have to do with the issue of this hypocrisy and how they'll change their methods depending on who they're talking about. They have one method of dealing with Andrew Tate. They have a completely different method when they're dealing with someone they're mad at or someone who's crossing them or something like this. So should I just jump into some of these clips and then we can all comment on them?
Yep, sounds good.
Yeah.
All
Sure.
right, let's see here. We've got first up, we've got Ali Dawah.
I was not biased. I heard the story until I heard the other side and realized that she was not only lying, then she was allying with the enemies of Islam and going and giving information to the most heinous enemies of Islam. SubhanAllah.
So here,
Can you please let me just make a comment here because I can't help.
Mhm.
So Ali, he is a da'i. He does da'wah to Islam. And he is claiming here that we have in Islam information that is top secret and that should never be shared with non-Muslims. And in case that information is shared from Islam to non-Muslims, that is going to be catastrophic. So I don't understand what he's trying to say here. Like, what is he claiming?
So just to be clear, this is him saying at first he was thinking you're telling the truth, but then he found out you're sharing this secret information with non-Muslims, and that puts you in the bad or fake Muslim category or something like this. But you're really, really terrible person because you're sharing this secret information with non-Muslims. Am I getting this right?
Yeah, that's what he claims. That's what he claims. Yeah.
Huh.
I think, it's kind of hypocritical because if something happened in many cases, you would go to non-Muslims for help. And Muslims understand this, that in the West, you have to go to police sometimes if there's like abuse or something, right? Like that shouldn't be seen as that you're a traitor or you're enemy of Allah or you're, ally. Like, well, there's cases where you need help from someone and you go and reach out to people that maybe don't agree with you. That's how the world works. We're all minorities here in the West anyways, right? Muslims. And so that should be like a normal thing, but he's trying to make it like nefarious. What he's doing is he started the character assassination already. That's what he's doing.
No, absolutely. Like, I would like to highlight here, like the hypocrisy, and so we've got here Mohammed Hijab, who, according to what they all claim, evaluated Islam, and he concluded that it's permissible within the Sharia, within Islamic teachings, to abuse women and sexually exploit them through deception, which, again, as I said, I believe is extremely wrong. And Ali, he evaluated Islam, and according to him, according to what he's done, it's okay for him to call me a liar, although that is baseless. He's got no evidence to call me a liar because I am not. He's just calling me a liar relentlessly, and according to him, he's Islamically doing good. And I had to deal with shuyukh and scholars who dismissed my appeal for help or for corrections, and because they evaluated Islam and they concluded that it's okay, Islamically okay for them to act in that way. And for me to go and reach out, and after I have tried my best to create the change and do what is right and bring in forward justice, they are accusing me of doing something that is Islamically wrong, which is reaching out to any kind of platform in order for there to be justice, in order for there to create a change towards what is good. And now I am being the bad one. I am being the one who's doing Islamically doing things that are incorrect.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine a situation. It's like, suppose there's a mother and like her daughter's drowning or something like this, and she runs to. Let's suppose it's a Muslim woman and like her daughter's drowning in a pool or something like this. She runs to a Muslim man. Hey, can you help? My daughter's drowning. And he says, No, I'm not going to help you. And she runs to another Muslim man. He says, No, I'm not going to help you. And then, okay, well, hey, there's a Christian there. Christian, will you help? Or atheist, will you help? And they help, and so on. How would that be? How would that make you bad or something like that? It's a really weird situation. But even weirder, it's these guys are obviously lying about you, smearing you. They're treating women horribly. They're treating women like prostitutes. They're treating their wives like prostitutes. And then they're blackmailing people. They're photoshopping screenshots. They're making fake AI confessions. They're completely lying to all their followers and justifying it, lying to their wives because they're lying to their first wives about other wives and so on. It's like this entire system of lies. And then if you actually say, hey, I want to expose this, they sit back in judgment and look at this evil person here. Look at this evil like what kind of moral compass do you have that Aisha's the bad one in this situation, and you guys who are like the sickest, most evil liars I've ever seen in my entire life, and I've been to prison. You're the good guys and you're the champions of virtue. It's insane. I mean, the Dawah online Dawah community is like massively dysfunctional. Weird stuff.
It's an all boys club, right? They all defend each other, and anyone that tries to go after anyone, like they'll all defend each other, and they'll do whatever it takes so that none of them can fall, because they, in their eyes, they're too big to fail. And also, if one of them fails, then how many others have been doing the same thing that are the next? So we can't let him fail, because if we do, he's going to set an example, which is exactly what Sister Aisha wants. She wants this to stop. She wants this power dynamic, this abuse of power to end in the community. But they don't want it to end. They want the milk and honey to keep coming.
Yeah, in other words, this is a serious issue between Mohammed Hijab and Sister Aisha here, but it's a much bigger issue, and all these guys understand that this is a much bigger issue. If she can actually expose what an extremely popular, one of the most popular Dawah guys on the planet has done, and all of their lies and photoshopping and AI generated fake confessions and so on, if none of that works, these guys are all in danger, because a bunch of these guys have been doing this stuff behind the scenes and thinking they can get away with it. So this is a terrifying situation to everyone who's been abusing. Guess what? If you haven't been abusing women or haven't been treating women horribly, you're fine. You're in no danger. If you're one of the Dawah guys who's been treating women like this, and Hijab says that he estimates that 85% of the Dawah guys have been in polygamous marriages and so on. But it's in all of their interests to make sure that Aisha and Behind Veils, that they all lose this, that they lose and are horribly defeated, and that they get the reputation of liars and people who are anti-Islam and all of this. So yeah, it's a much bigger battle than lots of people are aware of.
And
I believe that. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, so I believe I have an Islamic obligation actually to come out and speak. So what I'm doing it from not only from my own destroyed emotional and mental and physical well-being and all the implications that happened, not only from that angle, but I am coming out to speak from my own human nature, because I'm opposing this, and from an Islamic perspective as well. So according to me, what I'm doing, I am fighting for the sake of Islam. I am performing an Islamic obligation.
And
what else?
Oh, go ahead.
So I just want to say, Sister Aisha, so the way I understand this too, the way you're saying this, what you're telling me is that you have a conscience. You have a conscience, and the mind wants to confess, the mind wants to talk about things, right? And that's why you're here with us. You want to talk about your experience. You don't want to just, let this go away because you know that there's other women that are going to be harmed or are being harmed as we speak. And you're empowering other women to speak up by telling your story and being brave.
True. Yeah, that's true.
And again, that's what's amazing here. It's they put themselves in these positions, manipulators, narcissists, psychopaths, and so they put themselves in these situations where no one can stand up to them because that person understands he or she will get crushed, and so they get to do whatever they want. And Aisha, you had to know what you were getting into standing up to these guys, and you did it anyway because the alternative is that they just keep doing this forever and that they always treat women like this.
And I wouldn't have allowed that to happen.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, still, the vast majority of people, even the vast majority of women, are not going to want to stand up to them just because it's, even if they know they've been wronged, I don't want to have my life destroyed by these guys. So I'd rather just take the damage that's been done to me and just go quietly live my life because I don't want to make things worse by opposing these guys and having my life destroyed even more. So for someone to actually stand up against that and say, you know what, I know these guys are going to come at me, and I know they're going to try and destroy my lives, and I know they have millions of followers, and I know they're going to say all kinds of horrible things about me and lie about me and everything else, and I know tons of people are going to believe them, but you know what? I have to do the right thing anyway. I have to stand up for other people anyway. Okay, that seems like that should, if you're just looking at this from outside, that should be you recognize that as the good person in all of this, the person who's willing to sacrifice everything to do the right thing. And then you've got everyone who's like, they hate you because of that. They hate you because of that. If I were looking at that completely from the outside, in other words, if I didn't know any of these guys, I had no clue what's going on. I see one person saying, you know what, this may destroy my life and they're going to come at me with everything they have, but I have to do the right thing. Versus, how dare she try to do the right thing? We will destroy her. I would be like, it's obvious to me who's good and who's bad in that situation. Like obvious as anything in the realm of ethics could possibly be. And they hate you for it. It's just shockingly dysfunctional here.
I was just going to
I'll
ask.
say it very succinctly that you're a hero, right? I think you're a hero for doing this, for standing up. I think Salman's a hero as well. I think that the two of you and those helping Salman have done something very amazing and very brave. And I hope that it inspires other victims of the cover-up culture to come forward as well.
And that's part of the reason we're trying to help in any way we can, even though, this will also get you in trouble with these exact same guys who will use anything as dirt to throw at you, even when you're trying to do nothing but the right thing. But yeah, one of the reasons we are willing to stand with you through anything is we're looking at this and going, any other disagreements we have on any issue, she is clearly in the right and they are clearly evil here. And oh yeah, that's something we can all agree on here.
I was just going to ask Sister Aisha a question. I was going to ask you, after doing this, like this must have been tough, like, living in the community where these Muslims, they basically worship Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawah, and maybe not worship is the right word, but they,
it is.
They venerate these people, right? And like going against them in their eyes, especially with all the gaslighting and the basically victim blaming and all of the things they're doing, it must be scary. Like, how is it living, in the community after this has happened to you? How does it feel knowing that, hijab's goons are like watching and,
Yeah, no, look, for me, this issue didn't only touch my own, as I said, my own emotional and physical well-being and everything else in my life. It has touched upon my faith. I am a creature, a person who I have spent my entire life trying my best to understand my religion and work based on it. And I preached it. I preached things that I believed in, based on the things that I believed in, the way that I believed in. And I've been doing this. I spent a lot of effort, a lot of time. I felt strongly for this, for Islam, inside out, left, right, and center. And as soon as there is absolutely anything that is going to touch something that I believe in, I'm going to fight against it in a way that is like, you understand, like is like, obviously I'm going to fight against his teachings, because I strongly believe what he was teaching is un-Islamic. It does not matter to me what this takes. It doesn't. I'm going to fight, and I'm going regardless of what he does, also because of the truth. So when we talk about what he did to me personally, if he's going to deny that, I'm going to fight. So whatever kind of fight it would possibly take, even if it is physical fight, I will take a physical fight against him, regardless. Like you choose what kind of fight would you like? Because I know that what I'm saying is the truth. A to Z, and I haven't lied, I haven't fabricated. In fact, there is a lot of evidence that slipped in between my fingers just because I had good intentions and good feelings and trusted blindly, and I was honest. Therefore, if you're not going to be admitting, and you're not going to be coming out to say the truth, and you're not going to apologize, and you're not going to do the right thing, and you're not going to apologize to the women and children you have indirectly affected through your wrong influence, and you're not going to correct the teachings that you are wrongfully spreading, I'm here to fight.
And I think a physical fight would be the only thing Hijab would be willing to do, because he's obviously not willing to do the mubahala. So, all right, let's check out this next clip. This is Ali Dawah with Omar. Speakers.
Okay, Dawah, please come to me.
Okay, good.
Said this woman said you attack her, abuse her.
But before that, if you are not here, let's say you are in Morocco in your country, you're going to come back. My asl is what? I have to defend John and say, this is a lie until proven.
How do you know that? You cannot say lie.
No. What does Allah say? What's the asl? When a slander happens, is the asl to believe it or reject it?
To clarify it. No, to make sure what happened.
First thing is rejection. First thing we need to say is...
It's my claim, mother. Why you reject my claim?
Uncle Omar, didn't the man come to the Prophet and say, I caught my wife committing zina?
So if I tell you...
It's the Quran. Did he not come and say, I caught my wife committing zina? The Prophet, did he say, you're speaking the truth? I said, I am going to lash you for slander.
This is in ja'akum fasiqun binaba'in.
No, but he told the man, look, the man saw his own wife committing zina. He said, I'm going to lash you for slander. And Allah said, why? To defend his honor.
So why you mention this here?
The asl is this.
The asl is...
The asl is it's a lie until proven guilty. Not guilty until proven innocent. We follow the Sharia.
No, this is the English court.
Okay, so this is Ali Dawah saying that an accusation, even if true, should be treated as a lie until it's proven. What's going on here, Thaddeus?
Yeah, so basically he's saying it's his Islamic responsibility to say that any kind of, I mean, he uses an example of adultery. So at minimum, any kind of sexual sin, right? He needs to cover up. I think he's really saying anything, any kind of sin that you learn of that a brother has done, it is your Islamic responsibility to cover it up. And Omar's like, no, you should look into it and figure out who's telling the truth. That's basically what his position is. And Ali's like, no, Islamically, we have to cover it up. We have to act like it never happened. The Prophet, a guy accused his own wife of committing adultery. And the Prophet said, I'll lash you for saying that your wife committed adultery. So he's saying, basically, you should pretend like nothing happened no matter what.
It's really strange. Even the example he's using, it's that
It's not a good example. Yeah,
it would be whipped if you don't have evidence. That's what he's saying. So that means you still have to investigate it. Ali Dawah was just like,
right.
No, don't investigate it. Period. Just like,
yeah. And the irony is, which is wrong, is Ali himself was spreading the allegations against Salman that he committed adultery. He himself was spreading this. So according to his own words, he has to be lashed because he didn't bring forward any kind of evidence.
Yeah.
And it's just...
by the way, one more thing. There's a reason why Ali Dawah is getting so defensive over the hijab. because he did the same thing.
Yeah, we know that's all come out. Yeah, pretty bad. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
so this is actually
I
a
just
good
wanted to
example of
say,
them understanding, hey, this will come back on me if this starts happening. If women can actually accuse people of stuff and this goes around, then we're all in trouble here.
yeah, there is a very big point here that has to be mentioned. Is like Ali is bringing forward wrong Islamic teachings. He does not have the right to call anyone a liar. If you were presented with whatever and you are not satisfied with the evidence, although we have provided a lot of evidence, and if you are not satisfied with the evidence, you just don't say anything. Don't say anything. Say, I don't know. Maybe she's right, maybe she's wrong. But you do not have the right to say a liar. That was like, he was in first in his videos he was very deceptive. He was very deceptive, by the way, in his videos. He was like, I
Yeah.
met her in person. I met her in person. I know she's a liar. As if meeting me in person is evidence of me being a liar. You know, I met her in person. She is a liar. So what does that have to do with me being a liar or not? You meeting me in person. So first I was telling him, okay, if you have seen clear evidence that I am a liar, i.e., you have seen evidence that works opposite to what I claimed, like we are not even asking you to provide it online. It's okay, but at least come out for mubahala and because you are saying that I was a liar. You have seen evidence. So now he stepped back from his position and he's claiming the reason he called me a liar is not because he has seen evidence that works against my claims, but simply because he's saying there was no proper investigation. There was no, he hasn't seen yet the evidence that proves that what I'm saying is true. Therefore, I'm a liar.
And yeah, I mean, think about how insane that is, right? Because I guess the idea is accusing Mohammed Hijab of being in this secret marriage and lying about things and accusing Mohammed Hijab of all these things is a huge issue. Therefore, we're going to treat it as a lie until you've proven it to our satisfaction, which will never happen because nothing's ever going to be to our satisfaction because we're always just going to deny it. But until you can prove these serious allegations, we're going to accuse you of being an anti-Muslim liar who's working with the kuffar against Islam and trying to bring down the... Wait a minute. That's a serious accusation too. Why is it okay to toss out that serious accusation against someone, especially when you have to keep lying to defend your accusation? But if someone's actually telling the truth about Mohammed Hijab, then you're just supposed to ignore it and treat it as a lie. It's once again, it's just everything is hypocrisy. It's here's my rule, which I'll apply when convenient. If someone's bringing an accusation, treat it as a lie when it's convenient for us. Any other time, you could just toss out accusations all you want and nothing but hypocrisy from these guys.
We didn't get to that point yet where we're going to talk about Imam Nick and stuff, but like the problem here is that the community, if you're complaining that, people are going outside of the community for help, well, deal with the problems then when they come to you. These people are coming to you, these women, whatever the situation is, and no one's dealing with it. So it's not being solved by the community. That's why they're seeking support from outside of the community. I mean, if you think about Wissam Sharif, who was arrested for child pornography and whatever he was doing, like exploitation of children and all that, it was the FBI. Are Muslims going to defend that and saying Wissam Sharif is like, he's a da'i, right? And are they bringing down Islam by going to the FBI? Like if people know this was happening, they should be going to the police and like reporting it. But is this considered working with the enemy as well? Like, come on, like guys, it has to be like a point where you understand that if someone's being wronged, it doesn't matter who you go to, right? Justice is justice. Whoever helps you, helps you. The point is to fix the wrong. It should be the focus, not about, keeping these guys on a pedestal.
And you're right. And there's another parallel right there in what you're talking about. It's like, I mean, think about what we were talking about earlier with like Mohammed Hijab and all these things he's saying, and then eventually going after people's wives and so on. And that basically puts us in a situation to deal with it. why are we dealing with it? Because the Dawah community did not deal with it. They could have dealt with it and made him stop acting like that,
exactly.
and we would have never
It's
gotten to
true.
this point. It's kind of like, hey, it's kind of like I'm sitting here in a situation where, look, you guys can deal with this situation. We'll give you years to deal with this situation. You're not dealing with this situation. You're cheering him on, and he's getting worse and worse and worse. Guess what? If you're not going to deal with it, I'm going to deal with it. And then you're going to get mad about the way I'm dealing with it. But why am I dealing with it? Because you're not dealing with it. You refuse to deal with it. You prop him up, but you put him up on a pedestal no matter what he does and how evil it is. And that's putting us in a situation where we have to deal with it. And then you get mad that we're dealing with it, but you wouldn't deal with it, right? I'm pointing that out because it's exactly the same dynamic with Sister Aisha and Muhammad. It's she tries everything to get them to deal with it, and they won't deal with it. They won't. They all want to sweep it under the rug, and you get exactly the reaction of Ali Dawah. We're treating everything as a lie. Well, what's he saying? He's saying there's no scenario where we ever deal with this stuff, ever. We're always going to sweep this stuff under the rug. Well, okay, people are going to go to someone else to deal with the issue, and then you get mad at whoever deals with it. So Aisha goes around to all these different sheikhs and so on. No one will deal with the issue. She eventually gets to Salman and so on. They do deal with the issue. What happened? They hate them for it, and they declare war on them. It's like, well, if you guys had dealt with the situation, Salman would have never dealt with it. It's because your community wouldn't deal with it. That's why he's dealing with it. And you hate him for doing what you guys refuse to do. And then now Aisha's with us, and she's going to be attacked again. Why? Because you guys will not deal with the situation, and even after it's exposed by behind veils, you still won't deal with it, and you're still helping these guys get away with the same thing. And so now we're calling it out. And so who are you going to get mad at? You're going to get mad at Aisha. You're going to get mad at us. Why? Why is there never the slightest bit of self-reflection saying, because we refuse to deal with these situations and we side with the abuser, that's why everyone else has to deal with the problem. So why are we getting mad at them for dealing with the problem when we're a bunch of cowards who refuse to deal with it? That's how it should be. Anyway.
Yeah, and Salman is part of the community, but he's not part of the immediate UK community that where the problem should have initially been solved. The Muslim EU Council. I don't know if they did anything either. Hamza Soetis, he has not said anything, not made any statement about hijab. Him and Hijab work on Sapien Institute. He should have said something at this point. Like, this is like a very public issue. Again, nobody said anything. It's like silence. Except defending him.
Sorry. So I was at least expecting that there would be a correction Islamically from an Islamic jurisprudence, from Islamic teachings. Just very formal, at least very formal correction. This is the least I was expecting. Without that, I went crazy. That affected me spiritually. I couldn't believe it. So I'm like, okay, if these things, the right Islamic teachings are not going to be spread out loud, we need to come on common grounds. Although I understand you guys don't believe in the Islamic teachings or whatnot, but thank you for providing this platform. I am here to shout out that the Islamic teachings, Mohammed Hijab has gone against them. He's not practicing them.
Yeah, it seems, and this is just me thinking about how Mohammed Hijab talks when he's discussing these issues. It seems like he's always thinking, what is the bare minimum that I am required to do, and how can I use that to get away with all kinds of things? That seems to be his mentality. Not what is the right thing to do, or what is the good thing to do, or how is a good, virtuous person supposed to act. It is, what is the minimum that I have to do? And he'll go to different scholars. Let me find a scholar who gives like the bare minimum. And all these other scholars that say I have to do more, I don't care about them. Let me find a scholar to justify what I'm doing so that I can get away with it. And if anyone criticizes me later on, I say, what are you talking about? There's a scholar. Yeah, you can find a scholar who will say almost anything. And so if that's
Nick has.
This is weird stuff. All right, let's check out some more videos on this hypocrisy issue. So let's check out how everyone. This was a couple months ago, but Sneeko went over to Sheikh Asim al-Hakim's house and said he had something that was bothering him. And Sheikh Asim al-Hakim, you kafir, and he starts saying that if you have a doubt, then you're a kafir, get out of my house, and things like that. And then And then Sneeko talked to Ali Dawah and Sheikh Uthman, and they had a completely different response. So let's check this out.
Shaq, you need to have some sympathy for them. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I don't think he even understood my question right away. I think that he heard me say the word doubt, and he probably deals with a lot of people who ask him questions, and he just gets annoyed.
But okay, let me put it like this here. Even if you came to me today in front of the Kaaba and said, bro, I have a bit of a doubt, I'm not going to come and say to you, I would be like you in front of the Kaaba, how are you having a doubt? I have to assume the best and say, hold on a second, it can be a doubt. Aki, there's nothing. Look, doubt, there's two things you do with shubahat.
So that doesn't make you a kafir to have a doubt.
No, Aki, Aki.
You hear this? No, you're fine if you doubt. You're fine if you doubt. We're going to say this. We're pointing this out because it's going to be a very different reaction depending on who's doubting.
If that's the case, me, I've left Islam. When I first came, there was some questions I asked. Bro, you do two things with doubts. And I'm mentioning this for those who have doubts. Number one, you have a doubt. And what you do is you let that grow. Number two, you say, I have a doubt. I want to go to a person of knowledge. And I want to ask and say, I have a genuine doubt.
So Ali Dawah is recommending as advice, you got two basic ways. You could just let the doubt grow, or you can actually go to a person of knowledge and say, hey, I have doubts, and so on. So he's saying Sheikh Asim al-Hakim is wrong in the way he responds to someone saying, I have a doubt. You should feel comfortable going to people of knowledge and saying, hey, I have doubts about this. Can you help me with my doubts?
That's correct. And I would suggest just going ahead and playing the next clip right away, because the contrast is quite obvious.
He's not going to completely contradict himself and be a total hypocrite, right? Let's see.
Definitely not.
Okay, so I just wanted to point it out, everyone. You heard it here from Ali Dawah talking to Sneeko. It's okay if you're having a doubt. You don't condemn someone for having doubts. Ali Dawah even says he had doubts when he was, early on in his journey as a Muslim. So Sneeko shouldn't be ashamed of having doubts. What do? You do the right thing and you go to people of knowledge.
She has been on multiple Dawah live channels of Dawah-wise, Brother Hashim, Mansour, Sheikh Hazm, and many of these du'at with shubahat about the Quran.
Shubahat, that's doubts, right?
Yep.
Let me back this up.
Yes, shubahat is doubt, yeah.
So hang on, is this specifically about Aisha? Sister Aisha?
It is about Aisha. Yes.
Okay, so he's I just wanted to make sure, because I wasn't sure he was just randomly attacking a woman here in this clip. So this is him. Hang on. So let me get this straight. Ali Dawah, Sneeko, you have a doubt, no problem. It's just, of course, you got to go to people of knowledge. You got to go to people of knowledge. That's what you do. And here he's condemning Sister Aisha for bringing her doubts up to people of knowledge and asking about them. Okay, let me back this up. No interruption.
This is incredible. Thaddeus, you compile these, right?
Yeah, but Aisha helped me find them.
This is amazing. This is such a wow.
Great teamwork.
This ties into what Huda that video he did about celebrity convos, how they treat them versus
That's Sneeko. Sneeko, do what you want, man. Do what you want. Doubt all you want. Just still go around propping up our religion. Oh, she's criticizing Mohammed Hijab. Then how dare she have doubts? How dare she have doubts? She's not even a Muslim if she has doubts.
How dare she ask questions? How dare she call into shows that are Muslims?
Yeah. Hey, Abdullah. Some of these clips, like especially this, where it's just like night and day, depending on who he's talking to. These would be good for like shorter videos or shorts or something like that to expose the hypocrisy. Just so you know, in case you want Thaddeus has all these clips, he can. What were you saying?
I was going to say, Sister Aisha and I are on different sides of the spectrum here. She's still a believer. I'm not. But honestly, I mean, this is kind of what happened to me too. I had something traumatic happen to me. I started to have doubts. There were things I started to notice and realize. And everybody I went to, doors shut in my face. So now I'm here, right? So that's kind of how my outcome was regarding doubting. So, yeah.
So let's check out what Ali Dawah is condemning Sister Aisha for.
She has been on multiple Dawah live channels of Dawah-wise, Brother Hashim, Mansour, Sheikh Hazm, and many of these du'at with shubahat about the Quran.
Doubts.
Because we have.
What's that?
She's so awful. She has doubts. She's calling in to
Yeah.
ask a question. It's
But
like,
did you see how he said? I actually want to play it again. But
Oh my god, this is the worst thing anyone could ever do. Can you imagine having a doubt? What kind of Muslim would have a doubt?
it's like, you just told Sneeko it's fine. You just said it's fine because he's an important influencer. Well, this is evil stuff. Let me back to this. Is what a hypocrite, man.
She has been on multiple Dawah live channels of Dawah Wise, Brother Hashim, Mansoor, Sheikh Hazm, and many of these duat with shubahat about the Quran.
Doubts.
what does that show?
Sarah,
That shows
could
she
I-
has sincerity and she's
What's that?
trying to solve her doubts. That's what you're supposed to
That's
do.
what I mean. Like, I agreed with him over there. Like, someone, Sneeko, hey, what if I have a doubt? What am I supposed to do? Well, you got two options. You could just let the doubt grow, or you could actually be smart about it and go to people of knowledge and ask them. What's he advocating? He's saying if you have a doubt, go ask someone who's got the answers. What is she doing? She has doubts, so he's condemning her for asking people about her doubts and asking knowledgeable people about this. And that makes her evil. This is crazy, man.
Sarah, could I ask you? So in terms of the Quran,
So Sarah, that was that's you there?
Yeah, that's me. I'm just comfortable using whatever names. I don't pay much attention to that.
You don't have to justify using different names when we know what you're dealing with.
I use a lot of names. I have a lot of names. I use a lot of names on social media, which are way beyond what was presented. Just
You know what?
I'm just making them comfortable. Like, you understand. Like, if you are blaming me for using 2 or 3 names different, I'm using 10, sometimes 20.
Yeah. We are not. So just look at this. Look at how we react. If you're on their bad side, look at how they will attack. It makes perfect sense to use different names to
Yeah,
make it a little.
unfortunately, there's a stigma about asking questions. That's what he's, like. So if some people might be comfortable using the real name and asking questions, and some people are not, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's nothing wrong with hiding your identity. You have the ability to hide your identity if you want to when you're asking questions like this. It's very fair, right?
Yeah, because look, it's like they look at you like you're a bad Muslim if you say you have a doubt about something. If you have a doubt about the Quran or something, you're a bad Muslim. So.
Yeah, like I don't understand this name issue, because I'm like I've got questions. Like, why wouldn't you focus on my question? Like, was I disrespectful? Yeah, was I like, what is it? Like, was I disrespectful? Was I is it blasphemy? Is it disrespectful? I'm asking questions, and I was in purpose giving a lot of time to them. I was trying my best not to talk over them. They told me, please email us. I emailed them. They didn't reply. I did book courses. By the way, I did pay for courses that I wanted. I'm still getting information about the question I had, and I'm still looking into it. The issue here is the way he was approaching this, and all of this was dealt with in privacy. This is a private matter. I've got questions. I'm dealing with them. So why are you exposing that to the public as if it's a crime?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah, especially when completely different standards for someone else. But let's go ahead and see what he's blasting you for having doubts about.
So
because we have
Sarah, could I ask you? So in terms of the Quran and its preservation, do you have an issue with that, or are you convinced that the Quran is preserved?
Well, I'm trying to understand here, right?
But I'm just asking you in terms of
yes,
where
I do have an issue. Yes, I do have an issue. Like, as I said in the beginning, all of it.
So she had a doubt, and what did she do? She went to people of knowledge, and according to Ali Dawah, that makes her the bad one, bad Muslim. Bad Muslim, bringing your doubt to a person of knowledge, which is exactly what he told Sneeko to do.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask a question?
Contrast is quite.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say the contrast is quite striking. That Sneeko did go and ask it about his doubt, and he's like, "Oh no, that was right." And then Aisha was going and asking about her doubts in a very anonymous manner, even, right? Like, not trying to criticize Islam, trying to hear what they have to say, and suddenly, oh, you can't do that. You can't ask questions. That proves that you're working with the enemies of Islam. Crazy stuff.
Didn't Ali Dawah say in that video too to Sneeko that you're supposed to let your doubt grow and then address it? So it's not even just like an initial doubt. It's you should let it grow.
Yeah, I couldn't tell what he meant there because he's not the best communicator in the world. But yeah, you can interpret that two ways. So he said do two things. One, let it grow. Two, go to a person of knowledge. And I interpreted it as you got two options here. One, you could let it grow, and that's bad. So the better alternative is going to a person of knowledge. But yeah, as far as what he said, it sounds like what you just said. Like, first let it grow, let it fester, let it become this huge thing, and then go to a person of knowledge, which just sounds weird. Why would you let it grow? Why would you not try to just
I guess
jump on it?
I guess he means maybe like don't suppress it because they want, like he's telling Sneeko he wants him to ask questions. That's what I'm getting from that. But yeah, it's the total opposite of what he's told Sister Aisha here.
Yeah. And I just want to add one thing. Can we just comment on the fact that they went out of the way to find clips of her asking questions about Islam as a way to shame and publicly humiliate her? Like, what the heck? Like, you took all this time to make her look like some devil. Like, how dare you?
Absolutely.
Like,
yeah, exactly. That's true. Like, I believe that was very private, that no one would have known that faith is a private thing. I am asking questions. I have enrolled myself into a lot of courses, and I have sent emails privately. I had one-to-one conversation even with Farid Response. And I was basically just trying to do the right thing. I don't even understand why is this brought up to the public.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, especially, I mean, if he were consistent on it, that would be one thing. If it were, hey, it's always wrong to bring up your doubts to a person of knowledge, but it's not. He says, of course, that's what you want to do. Of course, that's the right thing to do, Sneeko, because you're an important influencer. Be comfortable in expressing your doubts. But then he'll turn right around. Look, this is the most evil behavior. Think about the message that this sends to anyone who has a sincere question that they want to ask to knowledgeable Muslims. Like, hey, I'm having a doubt about something someone has said about Islam. I want to actually contact you guys and look at this evil person. That's sending a message to everyone else. And the message is, if you have a doubt and you express that doubt and you try to get clarification, you're a horrible, evil Muslim. Well, what's that mean? That tells people to bottle things up and never ask about them. But it's the exact opposite of what he told Sneeko. This is weird.
This is very alarming, by the way. Is like, how did you find out that those are my accounts?
That's a lot of work. They put a lot of work into making you look bad. And think about all the work that, and like faking an AI generated fake confession, photoshopping stuff, all their videos. And they're the ones who are exposed as complete liars in all this. But yeah, this is just sick, evil stuff. Like, whoever's doing this has to, like, let me put it this way. Whoever, I don't know the specific person who's doing it, but whoever is photoshopping that screenshot, he knows he is lying and being evil and deceptive. And the people who are using, they know that. Maybe later people who are just getting it or seeing it, they don't know. And so they might not know that they're helping spread deception and so on. And like the person who actually makes the fake AI generated confession, that person knows that he is lying about someone. And right here, when they're going through all this clips, they know we're looking for anything to throw at this woman to discredit her. Even if we contradict what we just said, when we said, oh, this is perfectly acceptable to have doubts in it. What are you supposed to do? Go to a Muslim, go to a knowledgeable Muslim. What does Aisha do? Exactly what you would tell Sneeko. And that makes her evil. So that's the point. These guys know they're being deceptive. And why doesn't it bother their fans at all? That's seriously disturbing.
And this was before any of the Mohammed Hijab stuff, right, Sister Aisha? This video, you were just generally asking questions?
No, it was not general. This was because of what Mohammed Hijab has done to me.
Right, but is that before the public knew?
Oh yes, it was before that. Like this was while I think this was while Salman was dealing with the case.
Right. So what Ali Dawah did was backbite you, which is another major sin in Islam.
Yeah.
And Aisha just pointed out that this is all caused because Mohammed Hijab treats her in a certain way, is not willing to do the right thing. She goes around to various Muslim scholars. No one is willing to help. People are willing to cover it up, sweep everything under the rug. No one's willing to do the right thing until she gets to, like, Salman and so on. But early on, no one's willing to do the right thing, and this actually causes some doubts. Look, these are the guys who've been telling me about how great this religion is, and look at how they act. Wait, maybe I need to ask some questions about what I can trust and not trust. That's perfectly normal. That's perfectly normal.
It's about truthfulness. It's about truthfulness and honesty and trustworthiness.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so it's that same situation again. It's you guys are causing the problems and then blaming people for the problem that you cause, right? Like hijab, you're the one with your behavior, you cause the problem, and then you get mad at how someone reacts to the problem. You cause, well, not just this problem with, you cause all kinds of problems, hijab, and then you get mad with the reaction to what you, and you don't realize it's you that's doing this. It's you that's doing this. It's anyway, this is sad stuff. This is sad stuff. All right, let's go on. Let's go on. And so we're going to see the hypocrisy again when it comes to the hero of the Dawah fans a year ago, but not so much anymore, Andrew Tate.
He's never said anything which takes you out of the realm of Islam.
He called himself God. He's talking about Andrew Tate. Because keep in mind, guys, this is long after Tate is calling himself God and Lord and all this stuff and talking about, he's never done anything that brings him out of Islam. What do you... I don't know what to do.
He's never said anything which takes you out of the realm of Islam.
I mean, there are a few things that he said.
Culturally,
yeah, there are a few things that he said that, I mean, like, I spoke to him privately about and he clarified. Like, for example, some people have brought up this thing that he says that we worship Jesus, let's go and worship Jesus, something like that. Yeah. A few things like that. On the record, I did speak to him and he said, I said this in this way and I meant this. And that's why I think a lot of people that have come and excommunicated him, I've always said, no, actually, I've spoken to him privately and he's clarified this.
Reminded me, the one he said, Lord, he said, I'm a Lord, call me the Lord.
Yeah, some things like that.
And I spoke to him then, he goes, well, because you'll laugh. When I was younger, they used to be like MCs and drum bass, call me the Don, call me the Lord. It was a slang word. Yeah. So when a lot of these non-Muslims say that, they don't think it's the Don, Lord, I'm the man, king. I know the term he was saying, he goes, bro, I didn't know, I didn't mean it like that. Even sometimes he's refuted him by tweets.
So what don't you agree with him? Like,
I mean, like...
But by the way, everyone catch this? This is these guys defending this, what's his name, Tam Khan or something like that? This Tam Khan defending Tate for calling himself Lord. He's like, oh yeah, back where we're from, it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Just kind of, it's just kind of like bragging and stuff like that. So what, what's Tate? He's constantly posting videos of him surrounded by ladies wearing almost nothing and so on. He just did something with some porn star, something like that. He just did some sort of discussion with some porn star. He's calling himself Lord and this and that. These guys, there's nothing puts him outside of Islam. So we'll correct him privately behind the scenes. Why are they? That is not how they would treat Aisha if she did anything. Could you imagine if Aisha had, I am Lord. What?
This is their primary argument against.
That's the main argument. Yeah, I know what you're thinking.
Is that she said, I saw Hijab like a god, saying like how much she respected him. Clearly a figure of speech. And that's the proof that she is not a Muslim. No Muslim would ever say anything like that. Andrew Tate says something like that, says something far clearer, right? Yeah. I am God. And they're like, no big deal.
Yeah, come on. Guys brag, and it's fine. And what's the difference again? It's the same difference with Sneeko. Sneeko, important influencer that we need to keep on our side. And so we can't push him too hard or he might leave. Sneeko, same thing with Andrew Tate. You can't push him. Matter of fact, that's what they eventually decide. Hey, we don't want to push this guy because matter of fact, it's not in this clip, but this is where he says, what do you want to do? Keep pushing him? And then he becomes like David Wood. And so he actually used me as a warning about what you could become. But I mean, just think about that. It's completely different rules depending on how important you are.
Mm-hmm.
this amazing stuff. Anyway, let's let him finish.
It's got friendship with certain people I can't stand.
Yeah.
It's not, I don't even hate them. I don't know them. But
You're talking about the far right.
Yeah, the far right. Their views. I always gun them.
Yeah.
If it's an opinion, but is that taking them out of Islam? Let's differentiate.
Yeah.
Supporting the culture and Islam. He's not said anything which will take him out the realms of Islam. Firstly, when there's many Shia who say things worse.
Yeah.
And people always respect them over that. You know, you could have a Shia who will say something about.
Did you catch that? Andrew Tate, he calls himself God. He calls himself Lord and stuff. He does all this stuff. But, hey, they're Shias. Shia's bad. Shia's bad. This is their reasoning on this, why they shouldn't be blasting away at Andrew Tate.
Such as Aisha or the Sahaba, which is much worse. People say, no, they're still Muslim. This guy, I don't know if somebody started him. I know he rallied up a lot of hate, and I purely know when I spoke to him, he goes, bro, I was in America when I was on a podcast with PBD, when I thought my timing's different, I didn't even know. And yeah, I'm stubborn, he's stubborn. People just think once they say it, then that's it. That stuff we don't agree with. I don't agree with like publicly with doing sins and stuff, but
I mean, to be fair, I agree that it's not taking anyone out of Islam and all that kind of stuff. But I think there's one element here, which is this element called tawalli.
Okay.
I'm looking through some of Andrew Tate's old tweets that I had that I'd taken screenshots. Some of the ones they're talking about. But anyway, the first one I pulled up when I pulled up Andrew Tate's old tweets. He says, "Your crimes upon earth are numerous. You have wasted human years plagued by cowardice. You will burn in divine flame to pay for your sins. God knows me. God trusts me. That's why God will always choose me to fight. I am God's power on earth." Now, I know he has other ones where he's calling himself Lord and stuff like that, but that's Tate calling himself God's power on earth. So we've had tweets where he's called himself Lord, things like that, and then of course God's power on earth, and they're fine with that.
Okay, which is like this idea of allying with somebody who's now there's two kinds of things. I don't want to go into big detail about it, but like, so for example, in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there was a man called Hatib ibn Abi Balta', and this guy was basically a Sahabi, and he was also a Badri, so he went to Badr with the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. And when Fath Mecca happened, the conquest of Mecca, the Prophet ﷺ kept it secret. He said, we're not going to go into Mecca until, it's going to be a surprise. The conquest is going to be a surprise. So Hatib had family members in Mecca that he was afraid that when the Muslims come in, some of the new soldiers were going to be like violent and stuff or whatever. So he went, because he feared for the family, he went and told his family members that the Prophet's going to come in and there's going to be a conquest.
Everyone just getting the story. It's there's the conquest of Mecca. Muhammad has his followers, but they're about to go into Mecca, and some of the guys on Muhammad's side have relatives in there, and this guy's concerned about his family because they're about to fight and so on. So what does he do?
In a sense, he is aiding the enemies of Islam over Muslims. But the majority of scholars of Islam have always said does not take him because the Prophet ﷺ forgave him, and he didn't say he was a kafir. And in fact, what the scholars say about it is that because he didn't do it because he aided them, yes, he aided the enemies of Islam, but he aided the enemies of Islam because of a tribal reason, of a family reason, of a dunya reason, basically.
That is
so that's a really important point.
Yeah, it is.
That by talking with the enemies of Islam, as long as you're not doing it for intent to harm Islam, most of the scholars, Hijab says, have concluded that that's allowed. As long as it's for your own reasons, right? Your good,
for a good reason, basically a good reason. If you have a good reason, matter how did he not destroy their entire case with Sister Aisha right there? Right? I mean,
right.
Everyone paying attention? Is everyone paying attention? If you're missing anything, don't miss this. Hijab just said. So keep in mind, these are people who are fighting the Muslims, right? They're fighting the Muslims. They're Muhammad is about to fight the people of Mecca. They'd been at war. And someone who is a Muslim on Muhammad's side says, you know what? I'm worried about my family, whom we're at war with. I want to go and warn them to be careful about this fight and to stay out of harm's way and so on. And Muhammad forgives him. Why? It's just you're trying to do the right thing. You weren't trying to harm the ummah. You weren't trying to harm Muhammad and his army. You weren't trying to do that. That wasn't your goal. your goal was to you're trying to do the right thing, and you're just not sure what to do, and so you weren't trying to do anything evil. How does this same guy not realize, is Sister Aisha trying to destroy the ummah with what she's doing by talking to us? No, she's trying to do the right thing and help some Muslim women by exposing this stuff. So how, in the name of common sense, would hijab not spot the hypocrisy right here and say, wait a minute, she's the one doing the right thing, so she would be forgiven. And hijab and Ali, they're the ones who are being completely evil and making this all about themselves. They're the ones who would not be forgiven.
Yeah, I think there is an echoing of the same, there is a pattern of the same behavior, probably in one of the clips that are going to play next, because he was addressing the topic of marriage, and he was claiming that the sisters were correcting other brothers' behavior towards marriage. They were correcting that behavior. He was accusing them of flirting on the verge of kufr.
Oh yeah, I have a clip. It's short. Yeah, I wasn't sure exactly what it was about, but yeah, Thaddeus sent me a short clip. Let's just play it real quick. It's short. Matter of fact, I'll probably play it twice. Let's see.
An early indication as to Mohammed Hijab's misguidance on matters matrimonial is this video from a few years ago.
Who's that? Knowledge? That's Knowledge North?
That's Knowledge North, yes. This
okay, let me back up.
One of his videos on the hijab scandal.
So guys, you're hearing Knowledge North in his video about them, and then it's gonna cut to them.
An early indication as to Mohammed Hijab's misguidance on matters matrimonial is this video from a few years ago. It's a reaction to an earlier video from the Honest Tea Talk podcast.
And I do believe that this video, it definitely satisfies the threshold of refutation.
However, when we evaluate the sisters' Honest Tea Talk for what it is, in context, after accepting the lady's repeated caveats and disclaimers, we don't find anything Islamically objectionable, save a few awkward sentences, which we'll get to in due course. But, according to Mohammed Hijab, the women were
virgin on kufr
and
flirting with disbelief,
as if partaking in the destruction of Islam itself.
So what's that about in context, Thaddeus or Aisha?
Yeah, so basically, Hijab and Ali Dawah, they did a video where they watched through the Honest Tea podcast there, and women were kind of speaking honestly about how they felt about their relationships and whatnot, and because they said, as Knowledge North says, a few awkward sentences, right? A few things that need some explanation, that aren't exactly completely clear what they mean on the surface. Instead of like giving them the benefit of the doubt and figuring out what they meant, having private conversations with them like he did with Tate to, figure out what Tate really meant behind it. He says they're basically committing kufar. They're on the verge of leaving Islam because they said a few things that he didn't like the way they phrased it.
Oh, okay. So the idea here is when it's Tate and he's calling himself Lord and God's power on earth and all this stuff, it's let's constantly give him the benefit of the doubt wherever possible, and always assume the best, and always assume he doesn't really mean what he's saying, and he's just using some slang from when he was a teenager, and but then if it's someone else, it's, you see, they're on the verge of kufr with this, a poorly worded statement or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no. So they were advocating. They were advocating for good behavior, good treatment from husbands, and basically he doesn't like that. He thinks that like some of the words they are using, and he's very alert. He's very sensitive. He's in this defense mode, and he's so scared that someone is going to refute wrong practices that are done within matrimonial relationships.
So it's the same thing over and over again. If it's Nico having doubts, yes, Nico, we roll out the carpet for you. Go ask knowledgeable Muslims. They'll help you. That's what you do with your doubts. If it's Sister Aisha having a doubt about something, you see, this proves she's pure evil. And then here it's Oh, Andrew Tate, he's claiming to be God in 27 different ways and telling people to worship Jesus and so on. That's fine. You just got to understand. You just got to try and get to what he really means by these things. If it's women saying, hey, we want better treatment from our husband, this is basically kufr. This is kufr. And one of the most messed up things in all of this is like how you could be treated if you're some sort of whistleblower, if you try to expose something that they don't want exposed. And I wasn't even familiar with this, but I got this from heard this from Thaddeus. But you've got this Imam Nick, and this was just a horrifying situation. But let's go ahead and check out a couple clips about Imam Nick, who, as far as I could tell, seems like a hero and was treated like he's the worst person in the world. Let's see.
Absolutely.
In the fall of 2018, I was working as an imam in the...
Wait, so Abdullah, you're familiar with this?
Yeah, Huda, you want to talk about Imam Nick? She's made a whole video on him. Just quickly summarize what's going on here before.
So I'm familiar with Imam Nick. I became familiar with him over 10 years ago now when I first converted, and he used to post a lot of hadith on Snapchat and talk about it, and he talked about being a convert. So I've actually spoken to him a couple of times about just, hadith and Islam and stuff like that. So when this whole scandal happened back in 2018, this is how Imam Nick is. He stands up for what is right. So he disappeared. And over the years, I've wondered what happened to him. And then this resurfaces where he talks about what life after being, shut down by Yasser Qadi, Omar Suleiman, Yasser Birjas, all of these guys in the Dawah community. They basically shunned him. And,
they were all involved. I just thought it was like his couple people in his mosque or something.
No, he went to Yasser Qadi, Omar. He talked to all of these guys. He's like, listen, this is what's happening in the community. Suhaib Webb, yeah. Listen, this is what's happening in the community. Like, we need to talk about this. They were like, no. And they refused to touch this with a 10-foot pole. They refused. And he got shunned. And it was hard for him to find employment. It was hard for him to survive. He has a wife and I think 4 kids. So he actually had a couple of different GoFundMes. One was by Salman. That's also how I know Salman's a good person, because anyone who knows, Imam Nick and wants to help him is a good person in my eyes. So, actually in one of my videos, I helped bring awareness to his GoFundMe, and we raised a couple $1,000s for Imam Nick.
So he got kicked out of a mosque when he exposed sexual abuse, basically.
Yeah, he's about to say that. So I wasn't fully paying attention, but I was because I was checking out the clips as I'm getting them ready. But yeah, I just thought this was like a couple people in his mosque who had a problem with it. But that is bad if it's everyone else, because in the bit that I've heard, guy sounds like a legendary hero. That's what he sounds like. And so if they throw him under the bus, my goodness. But let's go ahead and check this out.
In the fall of 2018, I was working as an imam and the director of outreach for the Islamic Center of Irving, one of the largest Islamic centers in the country. While I was on vacation in the mountains of Colorado, I received multiple missed phone calls from a community member, and upon returning, they stated that they urgently needed to speak with me. After returning from vacation, I met with him on that Thursday, and he explained to me how he witnessed an elderly man inappropriately touching a child at the center, and when he got up to confront the man, he ran away. Later that day or the next, the community member witnessed a teenager threatening the same old man for touching his younger brother. The community member explained how the confrontation was stopped, and that he, along with the older brother of the victim, family members of the perpetrator, met with members of the board to discuss the situation.
Everyone got this so far? So he hears there's a guy who is behaving inappropriately with a child. And then as he's going back, he finds out now someone else, an older boy is going after this guy for messing with his younger brother. So this is like a pattern of behavior with the guy. He is abusing children in the mosque, and Imam Nick finds out about it.
During this meeting, the events were discussed, and the board members were presented with a picture of the victim who had a golf ball-sized bruise on his cheek from where the old man was forcibly sucking on it.
So they had photographic evidence. He's sucking on a little kid's face, and this gets presented to the board of the mosque.
Twisted manner, either by fear, manipulation, or incredible stupidity, it was agreed that this matter would be squashed, and that the family would be given a few days to get the elderly man back to Pakistan. After being informed of the situation, I requested as much evidence as I could from the...
What's that?
They instead of dealing with it with the proper way, which is authorities, they snuck him out of the country.
Yeah, and what's he going to do there? That's the problem and it goes back to, fortunately this was eventually addressed in the Catholic Church, but it was a similar problem where we don't want to cause a big ruckus, let's just ship this guy off somewhere else. Well, he's going to go do the same unless he's dealt with that problem. He's going to go do the same thing somewhere else. That's why you have to deal with the problem. We know it makes you uncomfortable. We know it can be an embarrassment. We know it can be this horrible ordeal. You have to deal with it sometimes. You just have to. Otherwise, it just continues. So anyway, and by the way, it's what we were talking about earlier is about people working themselves into these situations. This guy is a sexual predator of children. He obviously, I mean, this is all I've heard about him, but obviously he has worked himself into a situation where even if I get caught, they're not going to expose it because they don't want to be embarrassed. And you can't have your mosque being the place for that. You can't. You got to deal with it anyway. And Imam Nick realizes that and he tries to deal with it. Watch what happens.
Witness who also provided me with the picture which showed the clear evidence of the abuse. It just so happened that the following day would be our congregational prayers, for which I was scheduled to deliver the sermon. The next morning I went directly to the police department where I reported everything that I knew. I then went to the Islamic Center where I delivered the sermon, which subsequently went viral, exposing the issue to the community and denouncing the actions of the board.
So obviously he's going to be the hero of the mosque and the ummah for standing up and not letting people sweep this under the rug, right? Right, everyone?
Should be.
My sermon, the president of the institution grabbed the microphone to calm everyone down. He explained how he appreciated me and my efforts to bring these types of issues to the attention of the community. He confirmed that they knew of this incident and that they did their own investigation, that they brought it to the attention of the parents who did not want to inform the police. He tried to state how this was just a big misunderstanding and how I didn't have all of the information and so it didn't exactly happen the way that I had related it. This narrative was later used as part of the smokescreen to present the idea that this was just some sort of cultural misunderstanding. He stated how there would be no repercussions against me for bringing this issue to the community.
No repercussions? Like how are you talking about repercussions against him? How does that even brought up? Repercussions against, oh, don't worry, there's not going to be any repercussions against you. We're going to mess up your life.
How dare you? You went to the police. How dare you?
This is bad.
That's basically
My
what happened.
sermon,
this is bad,
along with his reaction, were all streaming live and uploaded to both Facebook and YouTube. It was almost immediately deleted and then miraculously uploaded again to a community activist organization's Facebook page called Face. It was then put into a shortened and condensed version which went viral on Facebook, and then the full version again was uploaded on YouTube. The next day I was put on administrative leave and I was told not to come back to the center. After about 2 months, eventually I was told to come back to the center, but that I was to stay in my office and to not interact with the community. After a short period of time, I was told that I no longer had to come into work. I was officially let go and my contract expired. Throughout this process, there was next to no support, locally or nationally, from anyone in the community of any meaningful value.
We've got 2 more short clips of Imam Nick, but I have to say, Imam Nick, I'm not a Muslim. Lots of Muslims do not like me. Understandably, I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I understand why you wouldn't like me and so on. I have to say, you did absolutely the right thing, and you should be regarded as a hero for standing up for kids and for not just sweeping this under the rug and passing on an abuser of children and passing him off to go abuse other children somewhere else. So you're a hero, legend status. Check out 2 more clips to see what else he's pointing out about this.
So if doing the right thing puts me in line with the wrong people that you don't like, I don't care. If the only help I have to save a drowning boy is somebody who you find appalling,
I said that earlier.
And I'm sure you could think of some names.
Hey, I said that earlier. But now it sounds like he's talking about people like us. Okay, let me back that up. That's funny. I normally say if I'm in a burning building and I'm in there with an atheist and because I had to say this because people for years always, why are you friends with AP? He's an atheist. And so I was like, what are you talking about? We agree. We're both under a death sentence from this. The people we're talking about, they want both of us. They're attacking both of us. So we're on the same page here. Yeah, so Imam Nick is absolutely correct. Guys, I don't care if you're Christian, Muslim, atheist, you should have a problem with this sort of abuse and you should want it exposed. So he is right. It's such a weird situation. I would understand if he there's some private matter that could be resolved between one guy and another, and you don't run to the police over. If it's someone who is abusing kids, that is not something you just send the guy to a different place for. You got to deal with that. So, yeah. All right, let's check this out.
So if doing the right thing puts me in line with the wrong people that you don't like, I don't care. If the only help I have to save a drowning boy is somebody who you find appalling, and I'm sure you could think of some names, I'm not going to not act because I'm afraid of how you will think it will reflect on me because of who you think I associate with. Point number 7, that I made Muslims look bad. Well, if your Islam is grabbing children's crotches and sucking on their face or covering up for those who do, I didn't make you look bad. I merely put a mirror in front of you.
Wow.
And the mirror doesn't make you look bad. It just shows you who you are.
Wow.
And I have nothing to do with whatever version of Islam that is.
I like this.
You want to make Muslims look good? You should have done the right thing. You should have said something. You should have done something. My Islam doesn't care how you think or how anybody else thinks it looks. You had the opportunity to do the right thing. One of my best friends from college, who's a Roman Catholic and knows a thing or two about this sort of stuff, said to me, man, you served up your community a grand slam. And they struck out.
Wow. One more clip of him. I have to say, wow. Dude is a hero, and look how he's been treated. And I got one more clip of Imam Nick here.
Oh, we were just having a blast. Obviously, I lost my job. We moved across the country. I had no money. My only car got totaled. We were homeless for a period of time. We ended up living in somebody's attic, sleeping on the floor, living at a back.
Wait, this is all because he exposed this situation? All this stuff happened?
Because
basically it became unemployable.
Yeah, because he went to Medina, right? And his Islamic teachings, that's his career, basically, right?
Oh, okay.
Sheikh.
Wow.
And he's also originally from Massachusetts too, so he was living in Texas. So I think he had to move back to his home state because, how are you going to ever become an imam again in Texas after that? Or period.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going against, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think it implies that secular jobs wouldn't hire him either, right? They'd be in the employment process. They'd Google or their name. They'd just see a headline.
Oh, headline about sexual abuse in the mosque and so on. Yeah.
No, whistleblower. He said they don't like whistleblowers.
Oh,
they
that's
like
true.
it. They just don't want to hire them.
Yeah, because you don't want someone who's running to the cops over anything, even if it's something serious. Wow. So he stood his ground. Let's see.
My only job opportunity was 100% commission as a door-to-door sales guy when I'd never sold a single thing in my life. God knows how many times I've lost employment opportunities because somebody Googles my name and just reads the headlines without digging deeper to find out what actually happened. Because everybody loves a whistleblower, just not in their organization. Now I'm living the American dream like everybody else, scraping by every month just trying to make rent. Throughout these past 5.5 years, there was absolutely no support. The amount of people that even reached out to me or talked to me on a consistent basis, I could count on one hand. And the vast majority of them don't respond to my calls anymore.
What's that?
Salman.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I wanted to highlight that just right now. I just was about to highlight that. It's the exact same pattern with Salman, Abu Aya, and a few others. And basically, we have to highlight those who give a good representation of Islam. I personally, this is how I feel. And I think it's an extremely horrible, heinous practice. And it was practiced on Brother Abdullah and I think Huda as well. Like when at a certain moment of time in their lives, they were accused of things that they have absolutely nothing to do with. They were accused of being imposters of their lives. They were never Muslims before. So this is disgusting, and I strongly believe that it has to change.
And I'm going to say too, in the Muslim community, in the world of Dawah and all these celebrity imams and such, there's very, very, very few Imam Nicks out there that will, his GoFundMe that we helped spread awareness about Imam Nick's. The person who set it up, he said it best, that he sacrificed all and then some for his community. And he truly did, because this destroyed his life by sticking up for children.
This is
True.
it's such a weird situation because when we're all hearing this, Christian, atheist, whoever, when we're hearing this, we're thinking, this guy's a legend. This guy's a hero. This guy should be celebrated. Wow. And what do we find out? And his life is destroyed because of it. And it's like, what? Wait, how's this guy not propped up as like a hero in Islam, a guy who was willing to sacrifice everything to protect children, and yet they attack him? And yeah, this is connected to everything else. Look at what they do with Salman. What's Salman doing? Trying to help people. Salman is trying to help people who otherwise are going to be left behind, and so on. And so he's the bad guy. Aisha trying to stand up so that other women aren't abused like she was. She's the bad one. This is seriously dysfunctional.
Also, David, Salman shared his fundraiser.
Yeah. No, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So this is all right. There's a few more seconds to see.
He was utterly shattered. My religious and spiritual observance went into a complete and utter tailspin. Next to no one reached out to assist me at any point in time or even check in like, hey man, how you doing? Where you been? Haven't heard from you in a while. And the ones who did weren't from our community. And for those of you that think that now is a good time for you to reach out and say, hey brother, how's it going? I'm sorry I haven't talked to you in a while. Just wanted to check in. That ship sailed. I spent 5 hard years trying to figure out how to navigate this path on my own. Most lone wolves separated from the pack die. I'm sure for some of you it will come with some irritation to know that this one still lives. This situation helped to weaken an already broken individual. My spiritual practice fell to the point where I was ashamed of my own existence.
Well, dude's a hero. Dude's a hero. Shame on everyone who threw that guy under the bus. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you. And shame on you if you pounce on that guy for defending children, if you attack Salman for standing up for people, shame on you. If you attack Aisha for standing up for herself and for other women who have no defense from these Dawah guys and so on, shame on all of you. You guys have a really screwed up community that you need to fix, and you need to listen to the people who are trying to fix it. All right, guys. So we're going to have to do a part 2 because we've been going for a while and we still got a lot of stuff to go through. We've kind of just scratched the surface. We've gone through about half the stuff that we wanted to cover. But yeah, we're going to have a part 2. I just want to make sure everyone has an opportunity to share any final thoughts. Huda, what do you final thoughts on any of this as far as part 1?
As far as part 1 goes, well, I'm glad that the mega mosque, these Mohammed Hijabs and Ali Dawahs and all of these people, all of this dirt is getting unearthed and exposed, because what's under all of this flowery Dawah stuff is very, very rotten and awful. And I'm glad that that people like Sister Aisha are speaking out, and Salman and Imam Nick.
All right, and so I honored Abdullah's. I remembered Abdullah's "ladies first" saying from earlier in the stream. So we got Huda, and now Sister Aisha. Any final? We'll have more to say in part 2 as we go through some more videos and so on, going through the hypocrisy of these guys. But final thoughts on anything or anything we covered in part 1.
No, absolutely. Thank you so much for getting together for this good cause. And I probably would just say, again, re-echo what I said earlier. So I'm saying that I'm calling everyone who's engaging in spreading their own worldviews and their own ideas, their own perspectives, to address each other with mutual respect, and to overlook the method of mockery or otherwise that would just create an environment of hatred and create later on consequences socially that wouldn't really be appreciated. Again, it was really good. It was a very good representation of collaboration, regardless of our differences and personal beliefs. So thank you so much for having me today.
Now, you have we've been following the story, and it goes back long before we were aware of, because we didn't know what was going on last year and so on. But the basic timeline is you had the situation with Mohammed Hijab. You tried to get him to. So at first, you're trying to get him to basically be a man and treat you how you should be treated. He refused and so on. So eventually you go to various Muslim scholars, try to get them to help you deal with the situation. They don't. You eventually find Salman behind veils. They were happy to help you, and they did. Again, I cannot imagine anyone doing a better job having to deal with this situation. So they did an awesome job. But with that said, even after everything has been exposed, people still aren't kind of basically acknowledging it. It's like, okay, that's done. Now let's just move on. And Mohammed Hijab gets to be the champion of the Ummah. It doesn't look like there's anything's going to change, except for maybe these guys will be a little more careful what they're doing behind the scenes. But that's not helping. It seems like they're going to be doing the exact same thing. So you're coming on with us to try and draw more attention to the situation. I did want to ask you about something else as far as one more step. So as far as what you're doing now, drawing more attention to it, calling out more people to condemn this situation, or at least to take steps to stop this from happening in the future. But there's one more avenue I've heard about, that you may be pursuing some illegal option. So what's going on there?
Yes, well, I was expecting that Hijab is going to at least apologize. It was very long ago. He didn't. I expected that our scholars and shuyukh would correct him Islamically. Sadly, this didn't happen, except for one single channel who addressed that from an Islamic perspective, which is Knowledge North. And I am here to echo what he shared. And also, I thought that I have to highlight the fact that if Mohammed Hijab's preachings and practices and influence spread, this is going to create a very big issue socially. So as long as he didn't apologize, he doubled down on his actions, I decided that it's a very strong and right step to try to take this to court.
And yeah, the very least we would want to see out of a lawsuit, I have to say, matter of fact, I'll say Mohammed Hijab, if you make this right, if you go ahead and make this right before Sister Aisha has to sue you and so on, if you make this right, you contact her, you do whatever she says to make it right with her, and then you acknowledge your own deception in all this. In other words, you acknowledge that ridiculously, idiotically, stupid, fake, photoshopped screenshot that you and your community put out, the fake AI confession, you like the level of deception in your brain that made you think that is a good thing to do. We'll make a fake confession and put it in her voice on AI that anyone can then plug in and say, oh yeah, it's AI. The fact that you think you could get away with that, and that you have no problem doing that you have no problem just lying about people, acknowledge that. Just admit everything you've done that is public. If there's other stuff you've done behind the scenes, you want to deal with that behind the scenes. I'm not your boss here. The stuff where you have publicly lied about Aisha and about others, you got to apologize. You got to apologize for all that and acknowledge what you've done. You need to apologize to Sheikh Tarana and admit that either you or your community, whoever's lying and blackmailing it, apologize for that and do whatever he says is required to make things right. Apologize for you guys attacking Salman and so on, for just trying to help a victim of you guys. Do all of that basic stuff, which is basically on the level of being a man. Do all that stuff. I will never mention this again. I will never mention it again, ever, at any point in my entire life. If you do not do that, then then we're all going to support Aisha. We're all going to support Aisha in suing you until you are forced by courts to do that sort of thing.
Yes, and this is very well said, because even the apology that so many people have heard Sheikh Mohammed Tarauna say, a lot of threats and a lot of other nasty actions happened afterwards. So it wasn't really a real apology to start with. I am looking forward for the right things to happen. There is nothing that could possibly pay back the degree of damage that was caused from all these actions. No one is going to give you your life back. No one is going to understand how much low you felt when you did go through all of these things. And I'm talking here about as a voice of all the women that have gone through these things, not only myself. There are a lot of implications that came from these actions. And the only right things to do is to echo the right Islamic ethics publicly and to apologize to all the women and children that he has harmed. As long as the scholars, as long as all the people that got involved in this case and they got harmed by Mohammed Hijab.
Yeah, so bottom line, Mohammed Hijab, you've always seemed willing to throw everyone around you under the bus, to destroy every life around you, destroy the lives of everyone around you, all for your own benefit. We're saying for once in your life, just stop that. Stop it. You're being exposed. There's no way you're avoiding this or just sweeping this under the rug. We're going to keep coming at you until you do the right thing for once in your otherwise pathetic life. Do the right thing in this situation. Be a man for once. Admit what you've done. Admit the horrible things you've done and move on. And again, I won't bring it up again. Make this situation right. I will never mention it again. That's the best you're going to get, because otherwise we're going to keep mentioning it every time your name comes up. Okay, Thaddeus, Abdullah, what can we all do What can we all do to help Sister Aisha out here with this one?
Yeah, I'm going to say, as a human being, first and foremost, also as a Christian, I feel it's my responsibility to fight for people who are victims, to stand up for what's right. And for that reason, I want to point out that Aisha has started a fundraiser to aid with legal costs, get a lawyer's opinion on how strong the case is. And I'll also point out that she has had to move. She's had, as it was told in the story, she lived across the street from Mohammed Hijab's mother's house. So people knew where she lived, right? People who are very loyal and enthusiastic about supporting Mohammed Hijab.
Hey,
So
quick question, Thaddeus. Would these be the same kinds of guys who like stormed Mufti Abu Layth's house and so on? So they're kind of serious.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I'm not saying that anyone did that, but there was certainly a serious possibility.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the point is there are people over there who are like just really staunch defenders of their Dawah guy and are willing to go to extreme lengths to deal with anyone who's bothering them, right? The point is, we know that for a fact because we've seen other situations where these guys like storm someone's house and so on.
Yeah, absolutely. So for those reasons, I strongly endorse people donating to the fundraiser, and I have done so myself. And of course, there'll be a link to that in the video description.
Okay, guys, so there's a link in the video description to Aisha's fundraiser. It's going to, there's no way of telling what things are going to cost or basically what you can actually sue for, but there's clearly a bunch of lying about Aisha, and again with a photoshopped screenshot calling her a liar, an AI generated fake confession. All this is like destroying her ability to function in the Muslim community. So they've done serious damages. I don't know what they can be held accountable for, but I hope Aisha finds out. And even to talk to a lawyer, get a lawyer to take a look at all this stuff is going to cost some money. So be sure to support her. Click on that link and support her. Abdullah, I'll give you any final thoughts before we close out.
Yeah, I mean, who do they have? That Mohammed Hijab has all of his Dawah guys supporting him. Who does Aisha have? She has all of us, and we are all different and cannot be any more similar, but we are so different. We live in different countries even. We live in different places, and we're all coming together. So we're not, Hijab, we're not going to let you get away with this. your lies, your fake, all that stuff you did, the blackmailing, you're not going to get away with it. It's time to just, call it quits, say sorry for what you did, and end it, because we're not going to let this drop. We're going to continue coming after you until you deal with this the way that Aisha wants you to deal with this and the way it should be dealt with.
Absolutely. And so for everyone who's watching, whatever your perspective is, there are two kinds of people. Either you think it's okay to abuse and manipulate and take advantage of women, or you don't. If you're in that first category, I think you're a scumbag. I'm not talking to you. For everyone else who believes it's wrong to abuse women in this way, or in the case of Imam Nick, abusing children and so on, this stuff, if you believe this stuff needs to be called out and exposed, even if it's in a different community, it has to be done for the good of your fellow human beings. I encourage you to contribute to that fundraiser so that Aisha can see how to move forward. All right, everyone. So that's part one. We've got more to cover in part two. Links to everyone's channels and so on, and to the fundraiser are all in the description. We'll catch you all next time.